go. Now we'll have a pointer and this. Good. All right, everyone. Hello. Let us begin the day as we've been beginning for the last couple of weeks. I hope we continue. And remember to give charity. Every day you should give charity. Start the day by giving charity. Before you pray, you're supposed to give charity. Charity, it says, makes the redemption come closer, and it saves us from all sorts of not good things. So let's everyone give charity, put it in a charity box, and Hashem should protect our soldiers and bring Moshiach now. Bring Moshiach. Okay, here we go. So what the Rebbe was saying, we're now recording and talking about Elul, the month of Elul. When the Rebbe gave this speech, it was 1991. This week's Torah portion, Parshat Eikev, was preceding the month of Elul. Elul is the last month of the solar year. It's the last month before Rosh Hashanah, before the beginning of the new year. And Elul is considered to be the month of reckoning, of self-introspection and inspection and inventory. Taking inventory of everything you've done in the previous year. Has it been up to, and it's under the theme of Elul. Elul is Ani Ladodi Li. I am to my beloved, and my beloved is to me. So it starts off, first of all, with Ani, me. First of all, you have to look at yourself. And then Dodi. Dodi is God, my beloved. So God loves us. And we should love God. And that's how we make our inventory of the past year. If I really loved God, and God is so good to me, He's creating me, did I repay Him properly? Did I do everything that a lover should do? Right? If I really loved God, a person who loves his parents, he loves his friend, right? So you do something for them. You express that love. You can't just say, well, I love you, but I'm not going to do anything for you. Until it comes to money, we're good friends. I love, but I can't. A person who loves you expresses the love. Have I expressed my love to God this past year, and by doing what He wants, and by saying what He wants, and by thinking by feeling what He wants? Have I done it? That's supposed to be your criteria for analyzing yourself for the previous year. And of course, this also includes eventually learning Torah. Have I learned as much Torah am I supposed to? Have I done the commandments as well as I could? Have I prayed as deeply and genuinely as I could? By taking it into account. What if I don't take it into account? What if I don't do anything? Nothing's going to happen bad, but we're not in this world just to avoid bad. We're not in this world just to, avoid negativity. We're here to do good in this world, to fix up the world. Fix up the world. So that's the next thing. Have I really fixed up the world? Step number one, have I brought good to myself? Have I done between me and God? What about between me and the world? I have to fix up the world. Have I been a good example to other people? Have I been kind to others? Have I inspired others to also be good people, to learn Torah, to do more commandments, etc.? And then finally, the Rebbe said, have I done everything I can to bring Moshiach? Have I done everything that I can to bring Moshiach? And the Rebbe said, this is really based on two obligations we have. One is Ani Ladodi, what I have to do for God, to my beloved, and Dodi Li, am I using what God gave me properly? And that's, the Rebbe said, is talking more about the godly soul. That's what we got up to now. Okay, when we say Yesh Lo Limud, here we have a special learning in how to make a proper reckoning in the month of Elul. That it has to be, especially in Eikev. That's this week's Torah portion. Eikev, the Ikvus of the Moshiach. Remember, that's what we learned last week, that the word Eikev implies two opposites. It implies the lowest of the low, the heels, and it implies the highest of the high. It says at the heels of Moshiach. There's any second Moshiach, the highest time possible is right now. So we have to think about both of them. How that which we see that things are so low, that's a sign that any second it's going to jump to the highest of the high. Because the idea of Moshiach is to refine the lowest. So not that we do the worst things, but that we're presented with the world and encounters us. That's a good word, like that. Encounters. The world causes us to encounter bad things, right? Like the anti-Semitism in campuses and in the media and things like that that's popping up all of a sudden now in the world, right? That's terrible. That's awful. Just let Jews live their lives. And what's wrong? No. Everywhere you see it, that's the lowest of the low, the worst of the worst. And there's a lot of Jews that are agreeing with the anti-Semites. That's pretty bad. It says it's only to bring the highest of the highs. It's a sign that this is 1 second before the highest of the highs. That's what the Rebbe says. In any case, I mean, not to get too, logical about this thing, because you can't. How did the song say? You can't philosophize on pain. See, another person's in pain. Say, well, the reason it's happening is because of the. But nevertheless, the Rebbe is trying to tell us that everything comes from God. God is good, and that which we see really terrible things, which clearly contradict this statement I just made that God is good. The fact of the matter is it does not contradict it, and it's just there for the revelation of something really good and really new. What it's going to be, I mean, it's going to have to be something really, really good in order to explain, all this pain. But it's going to be nevertheless. So he says that's what the lowest of the low and the highest of the high. The Yehudi to a Jew, for a Jew, every Jew has the power to arouse himself and to arouse other Jews, and mainly to arouse God, so to speak. And that's the idea of prayer. It says, come and let us make the reckoning of the world, of all existence. Let's consider what's going on here. According to all of the accounting that you can make, and according to all the logic that God showed in his Torah and the miracles that he's doing in the world, God had to long ago bring the true redemption of the Jewish people by Mizam and Moshiach. Let's just look at this thing logically, and come some total after the year, write down, God, you owe us. You owe us. Doesn't make any sense. You promised you're going to bring Moshiach, and he's going to end all the bad in the world, and hasn't come. And there's all these conditions that you made, how to do what the Jewish people have to do. And we've done all those conditions. We've done all the conditions have been fulfilled. And, now it's up to you, God, what's going on? Well, Befrat, and especially this year, Shalafi call on according to all the calculations and the signs, this is the year that the Melech HaMashiach is supposed to come. That's 1991, the Rebbe is talking about. Kamadubar, like we said many, many times. Okay, so this can bring us to two things. That's the idea of Akiv. Akiv. On one hand, it's the lowest of the low. So we can say, that's it. That's it. It's forget it. Mashiach is not going to come. God promised, and it hasn't happened, so it's not going to happen. That's all. Just get used to it. Just accept it. That's the lowest of the low. On the other hand, says the Rebbe, exactly the opposite. If Mashiach didn't come in 1991 or whatever, what he's supposed to, 1992, 3, 4, 5, 6, it was supposed to come. For sure he's going to come now. For sure he's going to come now. God never reneges on his promises. If they're good promises, it says that if God threatens, he can go back on the threats. But on promises, he never goes back. So if God didn't do it then, so it has to happen now. It has to. So that's the two opposites of Akiv. It's the lowest of the low. If so, what? It's so low, let's give up. Or it's the lowest of the low, means any second it's going to be good. And Bofraden especially, Shabayis Kamar Omed, Mila, it says that the holy temple, the third temple, is already prepared and it's already ready. It just has to come down below in the world. That's what it says in the Talmud. The Nimsa Imsa were already found. La'achar Chamesh Asar Av were after the 15th day of Av. It says the 15th day of Av, that's when the moon is full. The moon represents the Jewish people. And it comes after Tisha B'Av when there was this big destruction, and we see that nevertheless the moon is full. And from here it says you have to continue learning Torah. It says the nights become longer, so you can learn Torah longer. From the 15th day of Av and onwards, the Mosif Laila Al Yom, the nights become longer to learn Torah and to make more life in the world. So if so, we're found already 2 Shabbos after Tu B'Av. That's when the Rebbe was 2 Shabbos. By only it's only 1 on Shabbos. Sha'al Yadei Shemirat Shtei Shabbat, that by means of keeping 2 Shabbats, and like they should, as the Torah promises us that immediately we will be redeemed. So what's going on, says the Rebbe? Why? What's the delay? What's the according to in addition to this, Hari Zu Shabbos Mevorchim, this is the Sabbath which we bless the month of Elul. Like I said, that's not this Shabbos, it's next Shabbos. By the Rebbe, it was this Shabbos. HaChodesh, that in the month of Elul, this is the month where God is found. It says a king is found in the field. It's an essay in the Likkutei Torah. We'll learn it, God willing, next week. It says the month of Elul, the king is in the field. In Tishrei, Rosh Hashanah, we coronate God. He's, so to speak, in his palace. And in the month of Elul, God does a advertising campaign or election campaigns, and he goes and he travels around. What do you mean he travels around? That God is available to everybody. God is available. You think God doesn't exist? The month of Elul, he becomes available to everyone. This is the month of Elul, God is available. He's available. It says that he's a king in the field. The king came out of his palace and he went into the field. As then Rishoyim and Yochanan, then everyone is able, anyone who wants to come and meet the king, you just have to go out of the city a little bit. And he receives everybody with a pleasing face and shows everyone a smiling countenance. The king, God. But Nosaflas, in addition to this, we are also found, says the Rebbe, in 770, which is a place of prayer and a place of learning Torah and a place where we decide to do good deeds. And together with this, we're a group, more than 10 Jews, with many, many tens of Jews. So therefore, a Jew has to accept on himself, now, in this time and in this place, we're receiving the powers, kochos of Gedolim, tremendous powers and ability. Piotr, v'yesh lo gam hazechut, we have the merit and the responsibility. Hagadol Piotr, levakesh, to scream out to God, ad matai, how long? So the Rebbe is saying that, all these things that we're saying are really nice and they're really, positive and promising and, Jewish and showing on the nice side of Judaism and the positivism. But where's the results? Where's the ad matai? How long is it going to be? There's a story which is told about Rabbi Levi Yitzchak of Berdichev, and he was a very, very holy person, a tremendously genius person, but he was a very emotional person about God and the Jewish people. He was very emotional. Doing the commandments, he got tremendously emotional doing the commandments. They say that once he was doing kaporot. Kaporot is a custom by the Jewish people right before Yom Kippur, that they take a chicken, and you swing it around your head, and then afterwards you slaughter the chicken, kill the chicken, and you pour out the blood, and then you give the chicken to the poor people or whatever. Okay, this process of killing the chicken is called shchita. It's shchita, and you have to learn. It's not easy to learn. The laws involved. The slightest movement, in the improper movement with the knife, if you push it, if you delay it, if you dig it, whatever, then that makes it disqualifies. It invalidates the shchita. So we learned all the laws. Then with each law, there's all the Kabbalistic reasons, which that's already attached to your soul. So he took the chicken and he held the knife and he started thinking about all these Kabbalistic ideas, and especially when you make the blessing, each word contains mountains of secrets and gematrias and things. And he's made the blessing Baruch Atah, and he's thinking about how God is being revealed in the world and how by means of his movements, it says, and the one, and it says the person who's slaughtering is the Yud, and the Hay is the first Hay, and the knife is the Vav, and the chicken is the last Hay. He's thinking all this, but meanwhile, while he's thinking about all these ideas, as the chicken got loose and ran away, And he didn't even notice it. He was just thinking about these Kabbalistic things. So he finally finished the blessing. Asher Kishana Mitzvah Tzivanu ala Shechita. And he looked and he said, "Oi, where's the chicken?" And the point of it is that we can think about all these Kabbalistic ideas and these deep things, but hey, where's the chicken? The main thing is the deal. Where's the Moshiach? What's going on over here? We've learned how Moshiach has to come, and the Moshiach is going to come. The Moshiach is already here, and the redemption is just waiting, and the Holy Temple is in the temple. No, we don't see anything any different now than it was when what's going on. So that's what the Rebbe says. So we have to ask God, Ad Matai, how long is it going to be until Moshiach comes? Kevin since that everything is finished, all of our service, so therefore we have to scream out, Tovim, we have to demand from God, Ad Matai. That's the idea of prayer, to demand things from God. Like we said before, so therefore we ask the question, which is a earth-shaking question. Kevin Shekavar calling in, since we've already done everything we can, and who knows better than the Rebbe? How can it possibly be the Moshiach has not yet come? How can it be? So the Rebbe says, I'll tell you, I got an idea. Maybe there's something we overlooked. What? You do it's known, Agerat the Baal Shem Tov, the letter of the Baal Shem Tov, and there he gives an answer. He relates, he wrote a letter to his brother-in-law. And he said that last Rosh Hashanah, he said, I had an experience and my soul went up to the upper realms and I went to the chamber of Moshiach. And I asked the Moshiach the same question that Yeshua ben Levi asked the Moshiach like 1,500 years earlier. Atimar, when are you going to come? And the Moshiach answered me, when your teachings are spread out to the furthest places. That's what the Moshiach answered. This is a sentence from Proverbs. The becoming of the Moshiach depends on spreading out Judaism to the furthest places. But it doesn't just say Judaism. Judaism is the water. The Torah is like water. Mayanot, that's the source of the water. Mayanot is the wellspring from which comes the Torah. Mayanot is Chassidut, the teachings of Chassidut. It says, when your deep teachings are spread out, Shemayanotecha, the Torah to Chassidut, the teachings of the Torah to Chassidut should be spread out chutza to the furthest places. Ubapratim v'inyanim hachi chitzonim, into the most external and distant things from God and from Judaism and from Kevin since Shalachre Riboy Apollo, since after so much work, Rabotenu Nisienu, that the Rebbes of Chabad did, Arata until now, spreading out the teachings of Chassidut, Riboy Hachi Gadol, with the greatest possible, the quantity, Ad Bakal Chuge Yisrael, until all the different types of Jews, and Mashiach has not yet come. Says the Rebbe, well, maybe it's logical to say, Sheyeshnu, that there must be some sort of Jews that the spreading out of Chassidut has not reached. What type of Jews is this? We'll see. We don't have to lengthen, we don't have to talk too much. Ad kama pa'alo Rabotenu Nisienu, b'meshech hadorot, the efforts that the Rebbes of Chabad made in all the generations to spread out Judaism to the furthest places. Kaven since the Kol Echad Yochel Lirotzos, everybody can see this. First of all, there was the revelation of the Torah by the Baal Shem Tov. See, there's an interesting thing. Jews, no matter how far away they get away from Judaism, they still say, and they're even proud that they're Jews. So it could be that they're anti-Jews and they're anti-God and they're anti-Torah. They're anti-everything. And it could be that they changed their religion, but nevertheless, they'll never deny that they were Jews, right? Or that they, their mother was a Jew, or, I was brought up in Jewish environment or something like that. What does it mean? What does that mean? my mother ate gefilte fish. What about you? Are you Jewish? No, I'm not Jewish. My mother was Jewish, but my grandmother, my mother's mother was Jewish. To the degree, and I know people like this, that their parents, especially in Europe, their parents came from the Holocaust. They didn't tell the children that they were Jewish. They didn't tell them that they were Jewish. They didn't want them to know that they were Jewish. So the parents hid it from them, that even they themselves, the parents, denied their own Judaism, right, to their kids. Why? Because they knew that if they would tell the children that they were Jewish, that the child wouldn't be able to conceal it. He wouldn't conceal it. And that the Nazis would find out, or the Gentiles would find out something. They were afraid, and justly so, they were afraid. But the point is just the knowledge that you're Jewish, that all of a sudden changes everything. You can't hide it. So the Baal Shem Tov knew that the Jews, no matter how far away they were, and the Rebbes of Chabad, no matter how far away they were from Judaism, but still they knew that they were Jews. And so it was possible to find a Jew that was like totally, he was the Pope, who knows what, right? Completely far away from Judaism. His parents left Judaism, but nevertheless they'll say, I'm a Jew. They say that lasts until 5 generations. After 5 generations, then the intermarry or whatever. Okay, nevertheless, the Baal Shem Tov and all the Rebbes.
Rabbi?
What?
We don't see the Dvar Malchut on the screen.
You don't see on the screen?
We see a different thing. We see Sefer Malachim.
Really? Okay, one second. That's explainable. That could be explainable. Let me just stop the share. Why is this? It should be staying. Well, that's interesting. One second. Okay, let's stop the share.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but
no. I appreciate it. Why? That's interesting. Why that happened? Okay, here we go. Let's try it again. One second. I know what I'll do. Here, I'll take this away. There we go. Oh, now you have only this. Here we go. Let's try it again. Oh, now you see. Now good. Dvar Malchut. Yes.
Now we see it. Yeah.
Thank you. All right. So the Baal Shem Tov said, and afterwards it was added on. Yes, good. Okay. By all the generations of all the Rebbes until our generation, that we have to spread Judaism to the furthest places, including the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe. That the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, he did in a way more than the others. He translated. The other Rebbes did not translate so much. Listen, Chabad was imprisoned in Russia. Chabad was caught in Russia. They couldn't get out of Russia, right? The previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, he was the first Chabad Rebbe to permanently leave Russia. The others left for short excursions or whatever. The Rebbe Rashab, whatever, he left. The Rebbe Marash, I'm sorry, the previous he left. But permanently leaving Russia was the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe. He left. He went to Poland for like 10 years, Poland and Latvia, and then he went to America for the last 10 years. And in the course of this, he had the ideas of Chassidut translated. There were simple booklets that were translated, but nevertheless they were translated. And I know people that became religious because they saw what the previous Rebbe wrote. They became religious Jews. I have several stories. So it says the previous Rebbe spread out Judaism to people that didn't speak Jewish. They didn't speak Hebrew. They didn't understand. So, okay. Nosaf, in addition to this, all the explanations and the ideas of Chassidut that were added on our generations, right? Every Rebbe spoke volumes and volumes. Every Rebbe of Chabad had books and books of speeches of Chassidut that they gave. This spread out the teachings of Chassidut outward. And again, the whole thing of the novelty of Chassidut is, what does it mean, the oneness of God? What does it mean that the Jews are the sons of God? What does it mean when you do a commandment that you connect to God, that you bring God into the world? What does this mean? What exactly is the holy temple that it makes? What does holy mean? What is that? Those ideas of Chassidut, what is God, different aspects of God, to show how close God is and how infinitely far God is at the same time. That's what Chassidut does. He says these ideas have to be spread out to teach the Jews what is the uniqueness of a Jew. Shemakif, that this surrounds and it permeates all the different types of Judaism, the widest that there can possibly be. Jews for all different types of life but because of the work of the Rebbes, especially the previous Rebbe, as the ideas of Chassidut were spread out everywhere. And that's why we have Chabad houses everywhere, because there's some people that the Chassidut doesn't speak to them, but the wife's chicken soup on Shabbos, that speaks to them, and that'll bring them to learn Chassidut. But call Chelke every place in the world, and by means of translating Chassidut into all sorts of different languages, the Umat Olam, and this makes it possible for everyone to learn. By Al Yadei Kol Anal, by means of everything we said, Higiu Mainu Torah Chassidut, the well springs of Torah Chassidut reached to the furthest places in the world and to the most distant types of Jews, outward Jews that had been afar from even the language of Judaism, from even seeing Hebrew letters for 2-3 generations, as the ideas of Chassidut reached them. To the furthest, there's no further than them. Every single Jew, no matter where they are, they have the power and the ability, even right now, even though now they're totally not relevant to this, to be relative, to be connected to the teachings of Chassidut. Since that, after all this, and we've spread out Judaism to the furthest corners of the world, and to the furthest corners of Jews that are spread out, it says, L'katzei Shamayim, to the ends of the heavens, right? Jews that are in ashrams or whatever it is in India, and that they're heads of who knows weird groups, and right, and even the Jews that are the furthest types of Jews. After all we've done and all we've spread out Judaism, and in fact, without any consideration for money or efforts, but nevertheless, after everything, Moshiach still has not come. Says the Rebbe, Ulai, maybe there's one more place. Shadayan notar sug v'tachum, that there's a type and a category of Jews that are so far away that the teachings of Chassidut have not yet reached. But maybe this is what's preventing Mashiach to come. What is this type of Jew? How is this Jew? Alta Badati, it rose up, says Rebbe, I got the idea, Sheyeshnu Sug, there's a whole category of Jews that written letters, Shalem, the Otiot HaKatuv, that the written letters have not yet reached, and therefore they have not reached the teachings of Chassidut, which are written in books. What type of people are that? People that can't read, right? Says no, not exactly. Not the people that how you say, that aren't learned, that haven't learned how to read Hebrew or learned anything. There's people that, one second, but Chassidut has been translated in all the different languages, so they could read it in English. Something. There's certain people that, let's say that they have reading problems, huh? Maybe those type of people. Says no, people that are blind. Avur anashim she'ein b'yacholtam lirot, people that can't see. They're called sagi nohor. In the language of the Talmud, they're called too much light. Sagi, a lot of light. It's a term, instead of saying that they're blind, that they can't see, to use it in a positive way. There has been invented a special type of print, which is called Braille. That the letters stick out, and that a person that's blind, God forbid, he can feel these letters, and by means of that, he can know what's written. And I know a couple people that are blind that have become, because they felt with their hands, they could feel. This is the furthest of the far. This is the furthest of the far. You can't read. You can't, and even more. God gave the Torah in letters, and these people, they're not accessible to these people. But these people are Jews just as much as everyone else. And they're intelligent, and they have talents, and they have this. Just one thing, that their eyes don't work. So what can we do? Their fingers work. There's print, which is called Braille. Says the Rebbe, let's put ideas of Chassidut in Braille. This is like it's understood, that after all the work that we've done and spreading out Judaism, that by means of these efforts, Chassidut has reached everywhere. Nevertheless, these people have been overlooked. So now we have a novelty. That in these last days, I heard that in other words, the Rebbe said, I didn't just come up with this idea now. I came up with the idea a couple months ago, whatever it was. And he says, now I have just received, the reason I'm telling you about this now is because it's been done. There has been printed this Tanya in Braille. They said by means of this, there's a big novelty now in spreading out Judaism that has not reached this new type, a whole category of people, namely blind people. Shagama Tanya, that this Tanya has not yet reached all the Jewish people that need it. It hasn't reached all the blind Jews. But the fact is that there is in the world a Sefer Tanya, which is written in Braille. This is a beginning. This at least brought the well springs of Chassidut to be accessible to this type, blind people. This gives the possibility that the well springs of Chassidut will be accessible also to those Jews, Gisha Gam Otam Yehudim, that are found, God forbid, that they're blind. Now, at it says when God gave the Torah in Mount Sinai that all the blind saw, the powers, and all of the deaf heard. It said that Moses, it says, had a speech impediment. After that, he didn't have the speech impediment. Why? Because when the Creator is revealed in the creation, then everything becomes healthy. So these people who are blind, it's only temporary, right? One of the things of Moshiach is the only thing of Moshiach is to reveal God in the world, make this physical world a healthy place, much healthier than heaven. It says, so therefore now, until Moshiach comes and heals them, that they'll have at least a connection to the teachings of Chassidut. And especially this Tanya, I've received it. And it's in 770, the building where the Rebbe was, in the Beit Knesset, in the place of prayer, in the place of learning, in the place of good deeds, in the property of the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, Nasi Dorenu. He's the leader of our generation. In the last 10 years of his life in this world, he lived in this building called 770. That's where he was. So that's like the center of the powerhouse, the engine room for spreading Judaism all over the world. And it says that holiness never moves from its place. This is the source of spreading out Judaism to the whole world. And we have merited to continue his work in this place 770, the place of prayer, the place of learning, and the place where good deeds are decided to do, and making this for bringing kolel, especially the avodah b'afatzas hamayano, spreading the teachings of Chassidut outward in a way of Mailim B'Kodesh, increasing holiness. And we can add on that since that this book, the Tanya, this is called the 5 books of Moses, the Bible of Chassidut, the written Torah of Chassidut. So it's understood that the Tanya is included in it all of the topics of the well springs of the Baal Shem Tov and Torah to Chassidut. Right, the Baal Shem Tov just gave out these ideas, but the first Rebbe of Chabad, what do they call it, codified. He actually put them in an orderly system, so to teach a person how to come to love God, how to love the Torah, how to love every Jew. Kafisha Torah, like the written Torah, is included, just like the written Torah, the 5 books of Moses includes in it all of the Talmud and all of the oral Torah. There's nothing that's not hinted at in the Talmud, that's not hinted at in the Torah. Every word. Sometimes there's whole tractates of Talmud that are learned from just one letter, one word. Well, Befrat, and especially Sheyesh Lomar, we can say that in the Tanya, in the Tanya is all of the explanations, the Torah Shebal Peh, the oral Torah of Chassidut. Torah Shebal Peh in Torah Shebichtav itself. Chelik HaChamishi, this is the 5th part, namely the Kuntrus Acharon. So the book, the Tanya, is divided into 5 books. 5 books. And the 5th book is like the book of Devorim, which is spoken by Moses himself. Mishnah Torah, Shenikra, which is called the source of Torah Shebal Peh. The first four books of the Torah, God spoke to Moses, and then Moses gave it over to the Jews. Vayadaber Hashem el Moshe lemor. The fifth book of the Torah, it doesn't say that God spoke to Moses to say. Moses spoke everything himself, but everyone knew it was God speaking. From this is the source of the oral Torah, that we know that the rabbis have the power of Moses to say what God wants, to say what God wants. So same thing is in the Tanya. The Tanya has 5 books. The fifth book of the Tanya, these are very deep Kabbalistic ideas that the Rebbe has explanations. Kuntras Achron says this gives the ability for all the rabbis afterwards, and all the Rebbes of Chabad afterwards, and also all their pupils, to explain ideas of Chassidut. The main point is, and all that we said, is the future redemption, the true, complete future redemption by means of Moshiach has to be here. All these ideas are very nice, but the main thing is it has to be real redemption. So therefore, Bein im la'amur la'il, if we said what we said before, you have a connection to this, a person that's blind, whether or not, Hari now, since we've already made Chassidut in Braille, so it's clear, Sheteka from Miyad Mamash immediately has to come the Geula Mitit Veshlema, the true redemption by means of the Mashiach. But as then, Tihiyah, there will be Gam Shlemot Rafua, there'll be a complete healing, the Kol B'nai Yisrael, to all the Jews. And not only to all the Jews, to the whole world, totally. It says God will be revealed everywhere. Wherever God is, there's health. Gam Yehudim Elu, and also to these Jews who are blind. Kamayim Razal, like it says, La'atid Lavo, in the future. Ha'ivrim, the blind people, mitrapim, they will be healed. Like it says, Az tipakachna ene ivrim. Then it says, then there will be opened up the eyes of the blind. It's a sentence in Isaiah. Huh? So it will be open the eyes of the blind. And even more, when God comes to heal the whole world, it won't be healed, first of all. The first ones to be healed will be the blind. In a way, Shehem Nasim Sagi Nahor. It says that they will become really plenty light, a multitude of light. Right now, we call it Sagi Nahor in a nice way, instead of saying that the person is, without sight, we say that he's got too much light. Too much light. Sagi Nahor. Sagi, this is Aramaic. Says, now we say it in order to give them sort of a comforting, not to call them a bad name. Enough troubles they have to have also a bad name, so we call them a nice name. It says, but in the future, this nice name will become a big reality. There will be Yeshlem Ribui, or they'll have a lot. The people who are blind now will have a tremendous light. It doesn't take away from the power of seeing. Nowadays, for instance, why do they call a blind person Sagi or too much light? Because if you look at a really bright light, then everything goes black. You can't. So we say the cause of the person being blind is not because he's sick or because because it's too much light. He's got too much light. It's too much light. Okay, it's a nice way of saying it, right? A comforting way of saying it. But the Rebbe says, but there's a point of truth, and this point of truth, that's going to be the only truth. And that they'll have a plenitude of light that others don't have. So therefore, there will be their possibility, there will be in their ability to learn, to read and to learn Torah, also with regular letters. They won't need Braille anymore. And to comment, says the Rebbe, Sha'az, then at the time of the future redemption, which is supposed to be any instant now, and there won't even be the letters, written letters won't even be necessary. You won't have to have written books anymore. Why not? Shakal Yisrael Yishma'ul, everyone will hear the Torah me'atzus, who's from God. The Torah is not just a book that Moses wrote, a religious book that the rabbis got together and they wrote. The Torah is the plan of creation. The Torah existed before the world. The Torah is more real than the world is. It's more real than your car or your house, right? Or even our lives. The Torah is more real. Because the Torah is the words of the Creator. So it's already imbued in every detail of the creation. It says in the future that everyone, all the Jews will know the Torah. It says Torah Chadasha Me'ite Teitze, that all the words and the letters and the laws of the Torah, they will come directly from God. So therefore we'll automatically know and feel all the commandments, all the details of the commandments. We'll feel the holiness of every commandment. It says Moshiach Tzidkenu, says that will be the true, the ultimate pupil will know everything. Who is the ultimate pupil? The Moshiach. And he will teach all of the people this new Torah from God's essence with an extra explanation. And now, don't think this means the Moshiach is going to come and he's going to say, oh, you don't have to do that anymore. You don't have to put on tefillin anymore. You don't have to, new Torah. You don't have to, that's not what it means at all, right? You don't have to keep Shabbos anymore. So new Torah, right? New Torah, new rules, right? It's like somebody coming into a chess game and with a big hammer and smashing new rules, right? And says, now I'm the grand champion, smashes the whole thing. New rules. That's not what we're talking about at all. Right? The new Torah means that we'll feel the newness, the how the Torah is being created, given by God every instant. Like we say in our blessings, no taina Torah. That's the fact that the Torah is coming from God, and we don't feel it. When Mashiach comes, we will feel the novelty, the freshness, the godliness, which is in every word, every letter, especially every commandment. That's the main thing. The commandments, that's the essence of Judaism. So we'll feel everyone will know all the commandments, they'll do automatically. The limud, and also one commandment is learning the Torah. We'll learn everything that we learn, we'll see. These ideas of Chassidut, we'll see these things. Just like you see your car, you'll see godliness, you'll see Ein Sof, you'll see. But often in a way, you won't have to have any letters, not even written letters, like it's explained from what it says. It says people won't have to teach one another. And it's a sentence in Jeremiah. See Jeremiah 31:33. Look it up. It says people won't have to teach each other because everyone will know me. What does it mean, me? The Torah. The Torah. Second. What did I do? Yeah, Ad Gadol. May it be God's will. Shateiku v'miyad immediately, even in this second. Sheyeh rega kodem ligula. This second right now is one instant before the redemption, by means of learning the Tanya that we said before, and the blind people learning it in the way of Braille. So, because nowadays these people need it, in the future it'll be that these people, next second, they'll all be healed, God, from this immediate tokef miyad, immediately. That immediately the sagin, or all the blind people, they'll be called too much light. It'll be a good thing. It won't be too much light means he's blind. No, too much light means that he sees things that we can't accept. The yikru'u v'yilmadu Torah, that they'll learn Torah. And the tachlis hashlemos b'limud Torah b'gula mitit v'shlema, in the ultimate completion, learning the Torah with the true redemption. Torah chadasha me'iti teitzei, a new Torah will come from me, like we said before. And even more, and the main thing is, it'll be a geula mitit v'shlema, a true redemption by means of the Moshiach immediately. So the Rebbe said this in 1991, and Braille is already here. And so that was the Rebbe said, maybe that's the only thing that's missing. So what's missing now? I don't know. I guess just our maintaining the faith, maintaining our optimism. And our optimism will change everything. And when it does happen, we'll see that it was really a good thing. But meanwhile, it doesn't seem like a good thing. I just don't, what can I say? But Ad Matai, how long will it be? Any second now, the whole thing is going to flip over and change. And let's now do the Yom Yom. Okay, now religious Jews, they put on tefillin. What is tefillin? Tefillin are two boxes.
New recording. You have to stop the other one.
Yeah, very good, very good. Okay, 1 second. I got to stop the other one. Start the new one. Here we go.